Welcome to the Unity of Olympia podcast.
All right, today's all about prosperity, abundance, generosity, and your money. I thought you'd like that. I'm going to start with a document that was found after Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, the co-founders of the Unity movement. This document was found in their papers after they were both dead, when archivists started going through their stuff. At the title it says, Dedication and Covenant. We, Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore, husband and wife, hereby dedicate ourselves, our time, our money, all we have, and all we expect to have to the Spirit of Truth, and through it, to the Society of Silent Unity. It being understood and agreed that said Spirit of Truth shall render unto us an equivalent amount for this dedication in peace of mind, health of body, wisdom, understanding, love, life, and abundant supply of all things necessary to meet every want without our making any of these the object of our existence. In the presence of the conscious mind of Christ Jesus, this 7th day of December, 1892. Wow, right? I love this document because it reflects the hope, the attitude that our co-founders held, that it wasn't about becoming the televangelist, right? It wasn't about getting money. It was about when money shows up, we dedicate it all right back to this movement, this New Thought movement of helping people change their lives through their thinking. That when we consciously adopt thoughts of prosperity, abundance, enough love, what was the list? Peace of mind, health of body, wisdom, understanding, love, life. That's enough, right? Yeah. That those things are enough. Those are the things that make life valuable and worthy, regardless of your financial status in the world. Although it's fun to have money. Just saying. You know, this month and into February, we're going to be working with this book, In the Flow of Life, and we're going to be using In the Flow of Life throughout the entire year. It's all about our invitation to know that we are in the flow. We don't have to try to go upstream. We can pay attention to what's going on around us and within us and be present to life, God, and that we are a part of that flow. That it's not just that we are in the flow, but we are co-creating with that flow an experience that we call our lives. We've also been working with, well, some of us have, Today I Am, 30 Days of Living with Intention. Today's says, Today I Am Joy. Lisa, the author of today's things, tells a story of finding a ceramic angel in a little store, pottery studio. And you know that saying, you break it, you buy it? That's what happened. She broke the wing off the angel, and so she bought it, and then she found that it had some smudges on it too. But that underneath the smudge, her name, she was named Joy. So she took this little girl angel named Joy home with one wing, and she put her in the closet. And then when the pandemic hit, there was plenty of time to go through that stuff in the closet. And so she got it out. And she's holding this little angel, this one-winged, smudged angel in her hand. And Lisa says, this is the message that came to her. Outer conditions don't have to be perfect for us to experience joy. We don't need to be perfect to experience joy. Joy is a deep spiritual gift, a wellspring as inseparable from us as the divine energy within us. Generosity isn't necessarily about money. It's about being generous in our consciousness. I think of generosity as that ability to give love, receive love, and the most generous thing that I could possibly do is when somebody done me wrong. No, none of you. Somebody else. When I have this perception that somebody done me wrong, the generous act is to change my mind and to see that that person is living to the best of their ability. And just like me, sometimes they fall short. Just like me. And to give them that grace. This is, I believe, the most generous act that can be accomplished. I cannot think of anything more generous than that. If I've been wronged so badly that I think that I'm hurt, sometimes I might have to give myself compassion first. Next to today's intention is the daily word from May 2nd, 2013. It says, I set an intention to create the life of my dreams. My intention today is to offer a path, a positive path, to shifting our consciousness, shifting your consciousness, so that you have a life of your dreams. I mean, this is, in Unity of Olympia, this is the purpose of us being together, that we can support one another in actually living lives of freedom and joy, freedom from fear, freedom from worry, freedom from lack, and then living in joy, because that is the natural outcome. And it's all about consciousness. So today, as I talk about generosity, prosperity, abundance, giving and receiving, and money, I am taking action to shift my own consciousness and fear that I have had about talking about money to y'all. Because I don't want to be perceived like so many televangelists are, right? So I'm going to work my way up to it slowly. That was just like, I put my toe in the water, now I'm backing up. The revealing word tells us, gives us this definition of prosperity. Prosperity is the consciousness of God. The consciousness of God as the abundant, everywhere present resource. It is the awareness that there is a power and a presence, this energy source that I call God, most of you do too, that is everywhere present, and it is always available to us. That is our source, that we can resource. Y'all good with that? Say amen then. Amen. Okay. Good job. Prosperity is based on the conscious possession of the idea of God's abundance back of all things. Things come and go, but the idea of abundance endures. Things appear and disappear. I bought a couch last year. It's the first time I've actually bought furniture, except for one other time in my life. Because I've never needed to. It's not like I've been sitting around on the floor. Because this is the stuff that I grew up with, I didn't necessarily grow up with the idea that money was going to grow on trees, but that all of my needs would be met, and that nothing that I actually needed wouldn't show up for me. So furniture has always shown up for me. A truck to move has always been shown up for me. One time I lost a bunch of weight because I was poor and I didn't have enough money to be eating enough to maintain a chunky girl weight. So I got skinny. I gave away all my clothes. And guess what happened? Come on, somebody knows the answer to this. Two bags of clothing were just delivered to my home from a friend of mine, and many of them had new tags on them still. And they were my size. This is, consciousness, right? It's about a consciousness. I'm not the only one that can tell these stories. Last week, I heard a story from a friend of mine who will remain anonymous, but her story won't. She said that she'd gone to the grocery store and there was a guy in front of her and he just had, he was pulled up behind her and he just had 3 things in his cart. He had flowers, a cake, and a bottle of wine. And so she had a full cart, and so she said, you know what, you go right ahead of me. And so they're visiting while they're waiting, and then he gets up and it comes time for him to pay. And he turns and he says, you know what, I'm going to pay for hers too. And she's like, what? He says, today is my mother's birthday. And she's passed on, and I want to celebrate her birthday. And this is a way that helps me to celebrate her birthday. So as I was asking this woman more about that, she says to me, well, earlier in that week, she had been in line behind a man who did not have quite enough money to pay for his groceries, and so she just made up the difference. So then I asked, did you receive a tenfold return on that gift? And she thought about it. She said, oh, yeah, more than that. More than that. I think that the point is, for me, that it's not about making an investment in the universe actually expecting to receive something back, right? It's not like putting money in the stock exchange. It's just about being generous when you can. Not all people can all the time, but when you can and the opportunity presents itself, what a lovely thing to do, right? Man. The difference between spiritual prosperity and material prosperity is that spiritual prosperity is founded on the understanding of the inexhaustible, omnipresent substance of God, of Spirit as the source of our supply. I am in the flow of life. Together, I am in the flow of life. And so are we as a ministry. We as a ministry are in a flow as well. One of the things that my friend Susan McClure and our secretary on the board of trustees for Unity of Olympia did, we took a class, a 15-month class called Integral Ministries. You might have heard me mention it before. And in this class, they suggest, it's kind of interesting. The teachers don't suggest. They say, this is how you should do it. and some of it, we believe. But here's a couple of them. And here's some things that you'll be seeing that are showing up differently in our ministry. Integral means to be integrated. It means that all of us are a part of this, right? And that it's not about that there's this piece over here that isn't connected to this piece over here. In a ministry, you might say that the board isn't connected to the welcome team. That's not true. We are all part of one organization. We are one unit. That's what to be integral is, right? So the membership model is one of the things that is changing. Rather than inviting people to come into our community and say, yep, I want to be a member, and they take a class and they're just automatically in, our goal is to invite people into the community and provide them an experience that grows their hearts and minds, grows their proficiency at unity principles, so that their consciousness becomes aligned with the consciousness of the abundant, loving, present source of life, just as we try to have ours. Maybe they'll be better at it than us. That would be cool, right? So that they become aligned, so that they support this purpose too, that we all support. Support this purpose of, what is our purpose? Good job. Nurturing lives of freedom and joy and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. Okay, you can change if you want. It's not necessarily, shifting consciousness actually isn't about changing. It's a weird thing, isn't it? Shifting consciousness is just about opening. I think about the word transformation. As a matter of fact, I've had this conversation with a few people. I don't think that I've been transformed so much as I have sort of dropped away that stuff that wasn't authentically me. It's, okay, back to the love story. So the membership model now is much more like a labyrinth, where we invite people to come in and walk the labyrinth, and they get to the center, and there's like, Carol Layton, where are you? Like, there she is, Carol Layton. Like, she got the goodies. She came in, she took the classes, she walked the labyrinth, she did the stuff, and she got the goodies. You got to the middle and got the goodies. Look at you. And then, on the way back out of the labyrinth, that's when it's time to really start carrying those goodies and sharing them with others, right? So the membership model is part of the Integral Ministry. March, we're going to start doing a journey of discovering our spiritual gifts, and it's going to be in a spirit group program. I believe that there are 9 people who have volunteered to be part of a lead for their spirit groups. My goal is that every single person who is a member of Unity participates in this, because this particular program is not just about discovering spiritual gifts, which you may or may not already know what yours are, but it's finding out where need in our community meets your gifts, so that you can be of service in a way that it becomes a spiritual growth opportunity, that it's a spiritual practice, rather than showing up to do a job. How's that sound? It might mean that people who aren't on the prayer team pray out loud. I know, I'm not, Eric Butterworth says, the reality of affluence. This is the name of chapter 4, the title of chapter 4. You are not created outside the universe. You are an integral part of it, a dynamic center within it. The allness of universal substance is forever moving into and through the eachness that you are. You like that? Are you even with me still? The allness of Source is moving through the eachness that you are. This creative flow has produced you, and you belong to and in it more, in a more vital sense than it belongs to you. It's not just that you inherit it, you are its expression. You are the free flow of substance as you. This is the continuation of the divine effort that made you in the first place. Good stuff, huh? Integral Ministry also addresses money. So some of you have noticed that when we do our collection during service, that we do it we use different terms now, right? We say the words that we are a spiritual cooperative. Everybody gives what they can, and we trust that that makes ends meet, and that we do that in faith, knowing that and doing that, knowing that everybody is doing what they can to support this ministry, that is putting feet to our faith. We just trust that. So, let's see, what did I say I was going to say about it? Historically in church, so this is the new model. Historically, people have given as they've received. And that's the old saying, right? You've heard it. But what if I don't do a good talk one day? Right? You get nothing. Thank you very much. Or what if you don't make it because you're on a vacation, right? It's not me that's, I mean, I'm a recipient down there on the things that are receiving the money, things, people, and things, but it's the community, right? And so integral ministry says rather than having the goal, the long-term goal, rather than having a collection after the lesson that's sometimes seen as a grading system for the music, the talk, how did it look, how did it feel. Instead of that the members of the community, the people who call themselves regular members of the community, just make a commitment to support giving what they can to make the ministry work. Some people can give a lot. Some people, a lot can be $5. A lot can be $5 a week. You know the story of Jesus in the temple where the Sadducees and Pharisees are watching the woman with putting her last penny into the cup, right? And Jesus says, this woman has given more than any of the rest of you because it was her last penny. And they were complicit with the Romans, and that's a different story, but never mind. Eric Butterworth says, the reality of affluence, and I'm just going to tell you what, affluence, to be affluent, the roots of the word affluence come from the Latin affluentia, which refers to something that flows toward something or someone, right? It's a flow. We have sort of corrupted it a little bit, not you guys or me, but our cultural understanding of it means to have money at your disposal easily, right? Currency. Currency has nothing about, there's nothing about having in currency, because what it really means is to be in a current, right? It's about coming and going. It's a giving and receiving. So I am in the flow of life. I am in the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Do you know that one, Janine?
No, I don't.
Okay, fine. And one of the things I wanted to do today is to show y'all where we are financially, because I think, let's see, we have a couple of folks who are guests, and you can give us money, that'd be great. Man, it's not necessary. Eric Butterworth says, in the flow of life, life asks of you only that you flow with it, that you do not resist its inexorable bubbling forth, and that you do not crawl into dark corners of insufficiency and erect barriers. What would that look like? Fear, right? Holding on, not letting go. What was that?
It sounds depressing.
Does sound depressing, yeah. We don't want to do that. So today, I'm going to give you see-through water, transparency in the flow. This is what we have right now. You can't see it? Okay, I'll read it to you.
Thanks.
It says, what we have right now, what we have now, we have investments in CDs that came from the sale of our building, $1,324,745.68. Not all of that was from the sale of the building, because Sally Wenzel left a legacy gift for us. She bequeathed us $99,832.37. And there was actually interest gained on that before it could be deposited to our accounts of $4,784.11. Also, Kathy Weaver left a gift of $10,000 when she passed on. And so these numbers up there are the total numbers. Now that $10,000 that Kathy gave us, we put that directly into our checking account. We did not put that into CDs. The remainder that Sally gave us and the interest did go into CDs. We're in the current because it's growing. A growing river. Many streams. So we're using this language of cooperative share. We are a cooperative, a co-op, right? To date, which we are at 9 months of our fiscal year, December was 9 months, we've received $131,636.74. There was that bequest gift plus interest income off of the CDs, so that we have $153,000 plus some. And then we still expect to receive more interest income, $34,000 plus some. And we have an anticipated cooperative share, that means our giving, my giving, your giving, of $41,000 before the end of March, for a projected total income of $227,000. Expenses year to date, $175,000, and that is below the projected expenses. Yay Kyle, yay all staff, yay me. And the anticipated expenses are $58,000. So now I just want you to see that the projected total income is a little shy of the projected expenses. We see we're going to have a deficit. If we keep doing what we've been doing, we're going to have a deficit of $6,254.33. Now, here's the thing. We got $1 million in the bank. It's going to be okay. It is not a problem. However, I hear people wanting to get a building, and we're spending our interest income on staff and supplies. $45,000 this past year and $45,000 next year. We actually haven't adopted a budget yet, but it's looking like that right now. And so a change in consciousness is always a prerequisite to increased prosperity. Without it, we are just fundraising. One of the other pieces of integral ministry is that we stop fundraising. We stop the whole idea of begging for money in between things because we haven't made ends meet. We just, each of us take accountability to give the most that we can, the best that we can, and then we let that be. So, besides that, fundraising is hard. I mean, it's a lot of work. It could be a lot of fun. I'd rather do fundraising. I'd rather get together. One time we got together and we just did, what was the fundraising thing? We did 2 of them. A Hawaiian luau murder mystery dinner theater. Oh my gosh, wasn't that a hoot? And then another time we did an ABBA night. And we watched ABBA and sang along with ABBA all night long. Anyway, in the flow of life. I am in the flow of life. Together? I am in the flow of life. So here's what I am letting you know. Informing you, asking you. If we want to maintain the standard of living that we have now, that means that we have to stop spending our interest income. I mean, if you want to maintain this standard and move and get a building, right? And so either way is okay with me because we are prosperous either way. But I know that for a lot of you, you guys want a building that you can call your own home. And if you would like that, that's fabulous. Who wants a building? Okay, now that I told you it's going to cost more money, you're like, eh. Okay, where's that one about consciousness? Okay, so we can actually have everything we want. That's the deal. We are not stuck. This is what the teachings of unity are, is that our needs can be met. And if we need another home, if we need another physical location for us to be, then we can have that. We just have to make it happen. Now, I figured out that for myself, I can give another 10% greater than what I'm giving right now. And that's what I want to invite you into. For me, that's just an extra $35 a month. I can do that. I can do that. And so I want to invite you to just see. Now, there is a part of me that says, I don't wanna. You heard it. The I don't wanna. And yet the truth is, if this community really as a whole wants a different building, I want to support this community. I want to support you. And that is worth $35 a month for me. Because I want you to have what you want. I love you guys.
We love you.
I know you do. A church is holding a bake sale to raise funds. This is the fundraiser thing that can happen, right? And on the bake sale counter, there's a sign that reads, cupcakes, $9 for a dozen, or $30 for 3 dozen. That's exactly what the guy said when he walked up to the counter. He says, wait a second, why would I buy the 3 dozen for 30? She said, well, that's just the way it is. And he said, well, but I could just buy this dozen and this dozen and this dozen and save $3. I'm going to do that. And she said, okay, all right. She packed them up and gave them to him. When he was gone, she leaned over to the pastor and said, I told you I could get visitors to buy more than a dozen at a time. All right, I did the scary thing. I talked about money. I told you about money. In the terms of the free flow of ideas, substance, creativity is the one reality of life. This is it. Things come, things go, we flow. Eric Butterworth says, as you increasingly know this truth and identify with it, there will be a steady improvement in your position in the world. It's not about money. And your position in the world is about those things that the Fillmores asked for in return for their energy: love, life, peace of mind, health of body. In the flow of life, you are in tune with the wealth of the universe, which is yours to share. Butterworth says, and he believes, and I believe, that consciousness can be shifted. Again, it's not about changing who we are, it's becoming all of who we are. We already are this love, this life, this abundance. So for me, giving is a practice of relying on Source. And I invite you all into that as well. I am joy together.
I am joy.
I am free together.
I am free.
I am in the flow of life.
I am in the flow of life.
I am the flow.
I am the flow.
Amen.